Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be painting a portrait of one of my cats, Random. I think this will be a good kind of process video, and also I'm working on a small project. I may put them all together in a playlist, but basically, if you know me, I have a lot of pets, and today I'm going to be adding another painting of one of my pets that we can then hang up in the hallway, so we can have all the pets hung up at once. Random is the first one that's going to get hung up. He's the oldest pet. He gets that privilege. So I wanted to get this one done so I could hang up all the other ones I've made so far. So here is the painting we're making today. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell. All the standard YouTube things makes a difference for the channel. I really appreciate it. It shows YouTube that this is something that you'd want to watch and that other people should maybe watch as well. And so it recommends it to more people. Makes a huge difference, especially for a channel as small as mine. So if you do enjoy, leave a like, leave a comment. YouTube stuff, I really appreciate all of it. But yeah, let's get right into the video. So here is the reference photo I took of Random. I made a couple changes here. You can see in the reference photo his pupils are really small. I went ahead and sized up the pupils a tad so he didn't look quite so angry. He is an old man. Random is 15 or 16 years old minimum. He may be older than that. And so he is a bit of an old man. So he's a little grumpy from time to time. And I did wake him up from a nap to take this picture. However, I didn't really have a good one of his face. So we're going to use this reference photo. So we'll start the painting now. And you can see me starting with a pre-drawn drawing. I used my dot grid approach that I tend to use. I think one of my next videos is going to be what the dot grid is and how I use it and why I use it. So stay tuned for that. But we're going to go ahead and ink in the things that need to be inked in, and then we can start the painting process. So Random is primarily a gray and white cat. He does have some striping. He's a bit of a tabby, but he is old and the stripes aren't very pronounced anymore. They never were very dark to begin with. He's always been kind of gray with slightly darker gray stripes. But I'm going to emphasize them a little bit in this painting because I don't want him to look just like a gray cat. But in order to paint this gray, I don't want to just use black. So I'm going to mix in some browns. I'm going to mix in some pinks in the ear areas, some purples and some blues, and just some extra colors so that this brown or this gray is a little more interesting. So you can see me coming in here. I'm going to add up layers as I go. That's the nice thing about watercolor is it's translucent. What translucent means, if you've never heard that word before, is partially see-through. You've heard the word transparent. That's see-through. Think a piece of glass is transparent. There is the word opaque. Think a brick wall. You can't see through it at all. Anything in between opaque and transparent is translucent. So watercolors are fairly translucent, so I can add layers and darken things up once those first layers dry by just adding another layer on top, and they will compound on top of one another. So that's kind of my main goal here right now, is to go in with the grays where I need to put grays. Some of the white areas I'll put also gray because they are in shadow, but I'll make sure that the areas around them are much darker. in this section, I'm going to add a little bit more color. You can see kind of in his cheeks, and there's a white line in the bridge of his nose. I'm going to actually go in with a light blue here, and that's just going to make these whites seem white without leaving the white of the paper there. It's mostly going to be almost no pigment at all, but some parts that are in shadow I want to be darker without getting too dark. And so what I do is I use a light gray or a blue, which kind of not only will give me the tones that I'm looking for and the shadow values that I'm looking for, but it'll give me some nicer colors. And colors make the painting more interesting, and an interesting painting, as I'm sure you've heard me say before if you've watched my videos, is a good painting. So we'll continue with that. His eyes are green and his nose is going to have a little pink in it. That's, once again, more color, more interest. His eyes are green in the reference photo, and so I'm going to go ahead and put in all of those base colors so that I can add more layers and darken things up and define things as I go. So now that a lot of my initial layers are down for most of my areas, I'm going to come in and I'm going to darken things up and refine them. So you'll see me coming in here, darkening up a little bit of the pupils and around the ears where it's really dark. And one of the other things I'm also going to do is I'm going to go in with another layer of my gray, and I'm going to make sure my brush strokes are kind of streaky and are in the direction that the fur is going. Hi, Rudy. Come here. Sorry, Rudy just came in. Come here, Rudy. Say hello, Rudy. What do you have to say? Nothing. These cats never talk. Rudy pushed my door open and came in. But I'm coming through here, and you saw I'm making more interest, more texture, more volume to the fur. And that's kind of the name of the game here. I'm going to do this a couple times. And basically what I'm doing is I want to layer up these strokes so that it looks like layered fur. And that's going to kind of give me the detail without me having to go in and paint every single strand of fur. That's going to take too long. It's going to be too busy. It's going to be a little flat. And this way I can kind of quickly get the effect without breaking my back and hurting my wrist and spending way too much time on this painting. I would never get anything done that way. I've got a lot of the body and head and fur done. And so I'm going to come in here with my background now. And for my background, I went with a blue because I already picked my frame ahead of time, and the frame itself is a dark blue. So I'm going to go in with some of my blues that I have in this palette. These blues are actually the reason I'm using this paint palette currently, because I really like the blues in it. And so I am going to go ahead and darken up some of this background. I like when I have kind of a clean white line around my paintings, but I didn't think to put the tape down right away. So you'll see I'm actually going to put tape down on 3 of the 4 sides, and I'll let the paint go all the way to the edge on the top side here. I think it actually looks pretty cool. Obviously, I would have preferred to get white around all the sides, but I think having nothing on the top and 3 of the sides still have the white line is better than, first of all, none of the sides, and second of all, having all the sides the white line and a little piece that sticks out over the tape. That would suck. That would be more frustrating than anything else. And so I'm going to go in here and put the blue in a couple layers to make sure it's nice and dark, and we'll continue on after that. All right, so we're looking pretty good. I want to add, like I said earlier, some more definition to some of my stripes. And so you'll see me now coming in and adding some more stripes on his head where stripes would usually be on a cat. I've painted my fair share of cats in my time, and a lot of them were tabbies like this. And I know they usually have a stripe by their eye, some stripes on their forehead. and maybe some along their cheeks. So I'm just going to go in and put stripes where they make sense and where I think Random would have them when he wasn't all gray and old man colored. This is just, like I said, giving the right effect. Random is a striped cat. You just can't see it very well in the reference photo. And so I'm going to add them for myself. And this, once again, is going to give me some more texture. I also darken up the ears in this section, I think, and maybe darken up under the chin a little bit more. You can see me pulling the tape now. Now our background is basically finished. I'm not going to do any more to the background. And so I want to pull this tape so that I can work on Random because he sticks out of the edges a little bit. And what I'm going to do now is some of the highlights. So you'll see me putting highlights in the eyes. I'm going to highlight some of the white fur above his eyes and underneath them, some highlights in his nose. And I'm going to be painting his whiskers and the whiskers on his above his eyes as well, because cats have not only whiskers here, but they also have whiskers where their eyebrows would be, essentially. And I'm also going to add some highlights into his ear fur, and I'm going to add a nice rim light around his entire head and body. I like the way the rim lights look, especially with a darker background. It helps to separate the image off of the background, and I always think that that looks pretty good. Now that that is done, we'll do a few little touchy-uppy things, darken up the ears a little, add a couple more lines in a couple places I think need them, and then I will sign the painting and we can get out of here. Okay, Mr. Random, how do you feel about your painting? Any thoughts, my friend? I think he likes it. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell. I really appreciate it. Let's look at the final painting here. I'm very happy with this result. I showed him to Hillary. She loves it. This has been her cat. She found him when he was a little kitten 15, 16 years ago, and she has loved him ever since. And so we really wanted to get a good painting of Random so that we could get him hung up. I did paint him once before. It was kind of a really zoomed in on his face with a green background. Maybe I'll put that up here in the top corner, up above me here. But actually, that painting sold because somebody really liked the way that he looked. And so I sold that painting at an art show because, you know, I can always make another one. And so here is the other one that I made. So if you guys really like this, do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, share with your friends. It makes a huge difference. It really does, especially for a small channel like this. I know I said it before, but most of you probably aren't even watching at this point. The viewer retention drops off a lot toward the start of all YouTube videos, but especially my YouTube videos. By the 2 or 3 minute mark, you guys are out of here. So if you are still watching, I really appreciate it. Let me know if you watched all the way to the end. Tell me, say, I don't know. I mean, just tell me, say, hey, I watched all the way to the end, or something along those lines. I really appreciate it. I'll be sure I read all my comments. I only get a couple per video, so I will see that and I will thank you personally. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. Click on this video. I think you'll like it. YouTube thinks you'll like it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.